Namah Shivaya.
Good evening, everyone. Hare Krishna. How are you all doing? Welcome to our food demo. Uh, can you all see us? Are you here? All right. So, when you type your messages, please choose two panelists and attendees. All right. I hope you all have your ingredients ready and you all are meeting us from your kitchen. All right. Jaideepa ji is ready with all of her ingredients. All right. So today's preparation is a simple pumpkin soup and Divya will be demonstrating this for us. सबसे अच्छा यही रहेगा कि आप लोग हमारे साथ में pumpkin soup बनाएं and then we can all enjoy it for dinner today evening. So I would request Divya to come online and take over the session. Please remember to shoot your video while you make your pumpkin soup and also while you share it with your family. That's our video challenge for today. हमको अपना pumpkin soup बनाते हुए और पीते हुए वीडियो बनाकर फेसबुक ग्रुप पे शेयर करना है. So please do remember to do that today. We can't wait to announce the winner each morning. So very, very special part of our morning. Tomorrow evening, we are thinking of having a Q&A session, a question and answer session with Subha and Harsh. So do you all have questions for Subha and Harsh that you would like to ask them? आपके मन में ऐसे कोई सवाल हैं जो आप सुबह और हर्ष से पूछना चाहते हैं? All right, great. So let's have Divya come online and take us through the recipe of the Satvic pumpkin soup.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Can you hear me and can you see me? Please let me know in the chat box. Wonderful. I see a lot of yeses. How are you today? How has it been so far? And thank you so much for joining in. This is the first time we're cooking together in this 21-day yoga challenge. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to meet all of you. And I see Grishma ji says she's bindas. Then I see that you're wonderful. You've been great. Shridi ji says amazing. Wow, it's so nice to see that you've been having fun so far. And I am here to add a little more fun to your journey and to experience a cooking session with you. So, what we're making today is a Satvic pumpkin soup. I want to know how many of you are foodies, how many of you like experimenting with food and trying new dishes out. Yeah, I see a lot of me's. Great. And Wonderful. And how many of you thought that a pumpkin soup would be a boring soup? Because who eats pumpkin? What are your expectations from this soup? I want to know. On a scale of 1 to 10, how exciting do you think this soup will be when we have it ready in the next 15 minutes? I see that some of you are trying it for the first time. Wow. Rashmi ji says that she's trying it for the first time. I also see a 9 out of 10 excitement. You're already sold at this. Wonderful. Then let's get started. So what we're going to do today is there are a few ingredients that I'll tell you about. It's a very simple recipe, and it's literally a warming hug to your stomach. A soup, especially in winters. And the winters are about to go, so this is the best time to make it. So I hope you're making it with me. So, how we're going to start is we'll save all the questions for the last. We'll first quickly see the recipe and get started. So, the recipe is in two parts today. One, we're going to make a very interesting ingredient for this recipe, which is coconut milk, which is what we're going to add to this soup. And the other is, of course, making the base for this soup with pumpkin and few ingredients. If you can't hear me at any point, please let me know and I'll adjust whatever is required. I hope, and all we wish for is to you to have fun today. So, what right now has already been steaming is the pumpkin. So, let's just quickly close that. We requested you to steam the pumpkin already because it takes about 15 to 20 minutes. So, what we did was this is the kind of pumpkin that we take for this soup. Yeah. Okay. So this is the kind of pumpkin that we take for this soup. It's an orange pumpkin, which is seasonal. And what we do is we do not take the skin off. So we have steamed the pumpkin with the skin on. So that is what we have to do. We take about 500 grams to 750 grams of this pumpkin, which will serve 2 to 3 people, and we chop it into small pieces with the skin on because it is the skin that has so much of the nutrition, and this is a highly positive food, so very good even when you're detoxifying or trying to heal a disease or just want a very heartwarming soup. So we've cut about 500 to 750 grams of this pumpkin, put it in the steamer, and we've let it steam for about 15 or 20 minutes. Completely depends on the kind of steamer that you have. We don't want to overcook it. We just want to cook it so much that when we take a fork and when we slice it through the pumpkin, it should be soft enough. That is about it. We don't need to overcook it. Now, what I have done is I've steamed it, which is what you can see here. If you don't have a steamer, you don't have to worry. What you can instead do is you can take a pot, fill it with water, and keep a utensil over that water and put it, the utensil which has holes in it, and then you can put that and then put the pumpkin in. So that is one way to do it on the gas. First option, steamer. Second option, to put it in a utensil which has holes. Fill water in a bigger pot, keep it on the top, close the lid, how we used to do in old times. That's the second. And if you don't have that utensil also, what you can simply do is take a handi, a mitti ka handi, or any utensil. We suggest a mitti ka handi. Take that, fill a little water in it, and just put the pumpkin pieces and let it boil. So steaming, if steaming is not possible, we can simply boil. I hope you're with me so far. So this is the first step of either steaming or the second option, boiling the pumpkin for about 15 minutes. So we have done that and we're going to keep it aside. I'll just quickly show you how my steamed pumpkin looks. If you can see, it's steaming hot. So it's completely steamed. I've just put a fork and check. So this is done. What we are now going to do is we're going to make the main ingredient for this soup, which takes this to another level altogether and makes it my favorite soup. So that ingredient is coconut milk. Gives it a beautiful color and also adds a little sweetness and a little thickness to this soup. So what we're going to do now is we're gonna take a blender and we're gonna make coconut milk. How many of you have made coconut milk in the past? Or for how many of you this is the first time? Okay, I see a few of you have already tried. And is it for the first time for any one of us? Are you making it for the first time? Or are all of you experts? Oh wow, I see that everyone's an expert at this. So I might not have to take you through it so much. Wonderful. So what we're simply going to do is, as you already know, we're going to take 1 cup of raw coconut, which is the coconut kernel, not the dried small coconut. We're going to take coconut flesh. So this is the brown coconut that we see, which has little husk on it. We broke that and we've taken 1 cup of this coconut pieces, which goes into the blender, and we're just going to blend this a little bit and then add water into this to make coconut milk. So I'm going to put you on mute and save you from the noise of the blender. So we've just put 1 cup coconut into this. What I would suggest is, for this recipe we need 3 cups of coconut milk. So if you're making this for 2 to 3 people, then we need 3 cups of coconut milk. So for that, in this what we will put is 1.5 cups of coconut pieces. Yeah, 1.5 cup of coconut pieces will go into this to make 3 cups of coconut milk. So just put that in and switch the blender on. And like, while this is blending, if you have any questions, you can write them in the chat box, because I want you to be doing this with me. We're gonna have a delicious dinner. So let's blend this and let's put you on mute. Okay, so we've just grated the coconut a little bit into the blender, so that when we make milk out of this, it's really smooth and delicious. So we've blended the coconut pieces, and now what we're going to add into this is water. So what we're going to do now is add 3 cups of water into this. 1.5 cups of coconut and 3 cups of water. And why that is, the ratio we basically need to follow for making coconut milk is 1 cup of coconut to 2 cups of water. That's the ratio that we always follow. This goes in, and now we're going to blend it again. One thing to make sure when we're blending coconut milk is that we don't over blend. So just make sure that whenever we're blending, give little breaks in the middle. Blend it for 10-15 seconds, stop for 5 seconds, then blend it again, so that it doesn't overheat, because when it will overheat, it will also kill all the nutrition which is inside the coconut. So don't overheat the blender. Let's see if there are any questions. So yes, there is a question that I didn't find pumpkin. Can I try it with carrot? Absolutely. If you did not find pumpkin orange, you could do it with a yellow pumpkin. If you don't have that, you could do it with carrots. Absolutely, you could. Let's blend this again and let's make milk out of this. Urviji, you asked that if you got grated fresh coconut instead of the coconut pieces that we took, then how much would you need? So I would say if you're taking grated coconut, it's roughly about the same size. 1 cup of coconut pieces will roughly give 1 cup of grated coconut. So a little bit here or there. I would say if you can use 1.5, or I would say 2 cups of pieces of coconut will be roughly about 1.5 cups of grated coconut. So you can actually use lesser of grated coconut also. Um, yeah, wonderful. So our coconut milk is made, my favorite part, something that is religiously done every week at all our houses. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take out the milk with a muslin cloth. So I hope you're doing this with me, and I hope no one's left behind. And if someone's gone ahead of me, that's wonderful. So what we're now doing is we've taken a pot, we've taken a muslin cloth, and now we're just gonna put the mixture through the muslin cloth, and we're gonna take beautiful coconut milk out. Let's give you a little closer look. Yes. So now we're just gonna add and make the milk. Make sure you don't waste any. So since we have many experts about of coconut milk, I want to know what is it that you do with the coconut scrapings that are left after every time you make milk. How do you use it? We've discussed we could use it many multiple ways. How is it? Have you tried using the scrapings left from this plant-based milk, and have you used it in any innovative manner? So we have, you add it to curries, you make a face scrub, you use it in sabzi, you also make compost. Wow. In the dough, Satvic laddus. So it seems like you have watched a video and you have been using it in all possible ways. That is just wonderful. So we're making coconut milk right now. We're just squeezing every single bit out of it. Done. Thick coconut milk is ready. Why this is really important in our soup is because the pumpkin in itself is a very thick vegetable. So the texture of the soup is very thick until we add coconut milk. So the coconut milk gives it a very nice, little lighter consistency. Also adds so much, it makes the soup a lot more filling, which is why this is really important. This is left, which will go into our compost or scrubs the way you use it. Body scrubs, you use it with sesame seeds. Wow. I'll try one of these things with the compost that's left. So the soup, the milk is done. We keep it here. Now what we add to this is, let's just quickly wash this. Okay, so very simple from here. We've taken our milk out. We're gonna use the same blender. You could run it with the water once. And in this, what will go is our steamed pumpkin. So the pumpkin that we've already steamed is soft, goes into the blender. This recipe is one of the easiest and the quickest recipes, but when you taste the soup, you can't tell how easy it was to make it. So this goes in, all our pumpkin goes in. Yes, with the skin, like you asked, it goes in with the skin. And to this, what we'll add is half a small chili. Let's add this. Let's break this into pieces. So what I've taken is half a small chili, and I'm just gonna slice it and I'm gonna add it in this. Oops. Yes, right here. I actually wanted to jump off and escape. The chili's gone in, and let's blend this once so that it becomes a soft, a very thick consistency, and then we'll add the milk. So just maybe for 2 seconds, we're gonna blend this. And to this now, what we're gonna add is 3 cups of milk, coconut milk. I feel because I have used lesser pumpkin for now, I'm just gonna go with two. So clearly depends on how much are you making. So if you're making it for 2 to 3 people, like I said, then you need to take about 750, 500 to 750 grams of pumpkin. So which will be this plus a little more. And for that, we're gonna add 3 cups of coconut milk. So I've added only two for now. And to this, what we're also going to add is, let's pick our spoons up. The spoons are very, very important. So just make sure that for measurements you use the right kinds of spoons and the right kinds of cups. So we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of salt, little less than 1 teaspoon of salt into this, 1 teaspoon of rock salt, and what we're also going to add is rosemary. So we've taken rosemary, and we're gonna take half a teaspoon of rosemary, half a teaspoon, and we're gonna add thyme. So for thyme, we're gonna take 2 teaspoons of thyme. So half a teaspoon of rosemary and 2 teaspoons of thyme. 2 teaspoons thyme and half teaspoon rosemary have gone in, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Now what we just have to do is we basically now have to blend. What all did we put? 500 grams of pumpkin, 3 cups of coconut milk, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of thyme, and half a teaspoon of rosemary, and half a small chili to just add in that kick of spice when everything is otherwise sweet. So this is about balancing all the flavors. Now we're just going to give this one quick run so that it becomes one soup. Let's go. All right. So if you like you asked that if you don't have thyme or rosemary, what do we use? So if you don't have thyme or rosemary, like one of you suggested, you can use any herbs. If you have oregano, you could use oregano. If you have basil, you could use basil. Any kind of, if you have nutmeg, you could use nutmeg. If you have a little bit of cinnamon, any herbs that you have, you could use. If you don't have any, you could also put rock salt and pepper, but add pepper right in the end. But our favorite herbs are thyme and rosemary, which go beautifully with pumpkin and coconut milk in this. So we've only after trying and testing have we come out with those herbs. So for us, those are the best. However, whichever you would like. And like I said, I'd saved some coconut milk for the last to see if we would need more, and we do need a little more. So we're gonna add. So go with the kind of consistency you would want. So now we've added 3 cups of coconut milk into this, and let's just run this one more time and it's done. So our soup is done. It's ready and it looks of a beautiful color, which is why, yes, we could use any vegetables, but we specifically for this soup use a pumpkin vegetable because of the kind of color that it gives. So let's now that it's done and it's blended, we're gonna add this into a soup bowl, and this is the soup that we have, but first we're gonna top it. Before we serve it, before we show it to anybody, what we're gonna do is we're gonna top this with a few colors, because before we taste it from our eyes. So first we need to make it a splendor for our eyes, and for that we're gonna use colors. We're gonna add a little crunch, we're gonna add a little saltiness and sweetness with the kind of toppings that we're going to use. So the toppings that we're using is first red bell peppers. So let's add red bell peppers first. It's like, you know, how a family gets together and they cook together. That is the kind of a feeling that I'm getting right now. To be cooking with a family which has been with us for so many days now and has taken out the time to make a beautiful dinner for them, a beautiful early before sunset dinner for themselves and for their family. So we've added red bell peppers. What we're now gonna add is, if you can see, I've thinly sliced coconut. So what I've done is the same coconut that we used for coconut milk. I've just sliced them thinly, and this is what we're going to use for our soup toppings. So if you can see, that is how they're sliced very thinly, and this is the second ingredient that goes, the topping for our soup. Topping is my favorite part, be it smoothie bowls or be it soup, because this just makes everything so interesting. So we've added three coconut toppings, and the last topping that we're going to put is some pumpkin seeds. So they're green in color, which means a very nice contrast for our soup, and we're going to top it with some pumpkin seeds. So pumpkin seeds on some pumpkin soup. All right, and we're just gonna put little bit of rosemary on the top to just make it look even more beautiful. And this is done. Let's give you a last look. I hope that your soup is ready too, and you've reached the final destination with me. Let's just show you how it looks. So this is what the pumpkin soup looks like. We've This is the soup base with the red bell peppers that we've put, the coconut and the pumpkin seeds, and we've just added a little bit of rosemary right at the top. So this is how the soup should look. This is how I'm sure your soup will look even better than me, with the kind of creativity that we have seen in our team, the kind of creativity that all of you show. So this is a pumpkin soup, very easy to make. Let's see if we have any parting questions. Can I warm it again? Very good question, Harpreet ji. So since we have added coconut milk in this soup, we can't warm it again, because coconut milk has amazing properties. Is a very healing food. Is a very enriching, building food. However, when you cook it, it turns into cholesterol, and we don't want to add that to our bodies. So we refrain completely from cooking and reheating coconut milk. So if the trick to keep this soup hot is that when you steam the pumpkin fresh, because when you would steam it fresh, it will be hot, it will be really hot, so that when you add it in the blender and you add coconut milk to it, what you finally get is a nice warming consistency. So that is what you have to do. If you've kept your pumpkin steamed and it has gotten cold, What you can do is maybe heat it a little bit on stove, but before adding coconut milk, and then you can go ahead and add right at the end coconut milk and blend everything. Blender name, so I'm using any blender. This is not any specific blender, this is just a Nutri blender by Sanjeev Kapoor that I am using, Wonder Chef, but we keep experimenting with multiple and different blenders. Let's see if we have. Do we need to soak the seeds? Yes, we always soak our nuts and seeds, so that because all these seeds have a coating called enzyme inhibitors, which stop the digestion and which stop it from them being absorbed in our bodies. So just make sure whatever seeds or nuts you're using for your toppings, soak them about 3 to 6 hours, and only then use them. And yeah, have we covered all questions? Any so this is one soup that we've made. There are many soup recipes in our book. If you don't have pumpkin, we also have other recipes for carrot soups. We also have other recipes for peas, mint, any kind of vegetable, sweet potato, cauliflower. We have soups for every different kind of, and we've experimented quite a lot which herbs, which tastes go well with which vegetables. So for this, when you use a pumpkin, make sure you use these herbs. It will give you an amazing flavor and aroma. And if you have other vegetables, you could try other soup recipes. So I hope and I wish you have a wonderful dinner. Thank you so much for joining me. I had a wonderful time making these with you. Yes, you can use Jayaji, you can use any color of bell peppers. This is only to add color to the soup. Green, you want to use green, you could use green as well. So thank you so much for joining me. I wish you a wonderful dinner, and share your pictures with us. Tell us how did you like it. Tell us who did you share it with. And just remember that Sattvic food can be wonderful food. It is all about experimenting. It is all about creating together as a community. There are so many good dishes that it doesn't feel like healing food. It feels like we're always on a celebration with these colors and these textures and this crunch that we have. So, thank you so much for joining me. And I wish you all the love and a wonderful dinner ahead. Hare Krishna, everyone.